Hey, Florian Bros. All right, so we're gonna do another That's a Wrap video. So haven't had a chance to do this in a while because I've been traveling so much between services and going to the CCA convention, Footprints convention. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work traveling around, going visit doing I love convention season. I love getting out and really making it about the business of flooring. And if you're doing it right, you're having the right conversations. You're going there with intention of getting something done. And so kudos to those of you that do that, that go to convention with a purpose in mind, with your goals in hand, with challenging people to help you reach your goals and do better, get the products that you need in your showroom, whatever's missing, or maybe build the relationship with the advertising people or software companies or anybody else that was there. I was so tempted to, I was shooting some videos out there and I was tempted to to do something that may lack a little bit of class, but there's who is it? Not Hootsuite. I can't think. House was out there. Oh my God, these guys, House makes it so difficult for you to get out of your contract. And let me address that first on this episode. This whole bullshit about contracts, and I'm going to call it like it is. It's total bullshit. Whether it's your web company or advertisers or anybody that's holding you to a contract, they're doing a shitty job for you. You're not getting the service or the leads or whatever it is that you're supposed to get, that they're supposed to provide. But no, you're in a contract. You signed the contract, we wrote it out, and there's no way these people should be able to hold you to a contract when they didn't provide the product or service that they promised to provide. How can you hold somebody to a contract? Look, even gym memberships and all that. And I've dealt with this. We just moved recently. And so I'm dealing with this a little bit now with, whether it's the cable company, internet, electric, whatever, that you're paying beyond the service that you're receiving. And really fed up with it, with just everybody that tries that bullshit and does that bullshit, that you signed a contract. So yeah, there is some obligation there maybe, and for you to give an effort. But if you're giving an effort and you're trying and the web company's not providing the service that they promised, or a marketing company or whatever, and they're going to hold you to some bullshit agreement when they're not holding up to their end of the bargain, that's crazy. And I really wanted to shoot a video in front of House because they are one of the worst at it as far as, the contract automatically renews unless you give them 60-day notice on the anniversary date. And they had so much language that was written in there that, look, the only way to get out of the contract is to cancel your credit card and say it was lost and stolen and I need a new credit card. That's about the only way to get out of the contract. And they may come after you or not, but it's just bad business. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of everybody doing it. And instead of trying to figure out ways that they can improve, they're trying to hold you to a contract when they're not doing their job. All right, that's my little rant for that. Got one of the most fascinating conversations I've had, and we've had this with a few people. I get this quite often, actually, where people want to know if they're getting paid a fair wage. People that feel that they're entitled to more. And a lot of times it's a father-son relationship where the son is doing a lot of work and doesn't feel like that he's being paid the wage that he should be getting, but like the father's taking advantage of the relationship. And then there's other people that just don't feel like they're getting paid fair. Here's kind of where I would measure that. So for a salesperson, here's where I think you can measure that. What is a fair wage? I would take whatever your total sales are and multiply that by 10%. If your total sales are 100, let's say it's 1.5 million, you should be making about 10%, about $150,000. If you're in that range, and and we can even add in some of the benefits and some of the other things that go into it. I would think that's a fair measurement to see, am I getting about 10%? Um, I would also look at this from an employer standpoint. If you're hiring somebody, I've talked to some people that it just feels like they're really overpaying. And when we looked at the numbers, like they're paying a salary, but they weren't paying commission. And it seemed like they were overpaying. But if we looked at the total business, like that business might have done 3 million and their total wages were 300,000. It's like, you're probably right in the range. You're probably okay. I mean, you may be overpaying some people based on their performance, but your payroll isn't out of line. And it's not your total payroll shouldn't be 10%. I'm talking about your payroll to commission paid salespeople or salespeople that are salary. Anybody whose pay is related to the work that they're doing. So and that tends to be the salespeople, right? So bookkeepers and all that, those are overhead. Those are an additional expense. Sometimes the managers and those people are an additional expense. They're not paying directly from sales. Any manager that you want to set up that way, that's probably the best way to set them up, is with a lower salary, but incentives to reach higher sales. So anybody in a management position, I feel, should be paid based off performance. So they get rewarded when the performance is good, and they don't get paid as well when performance is bad. And it might not be their fault that the performance isn't bad. Last year, the economy went soft on us. So it wasn't their performance. Now, do they deserve to get paid as much? They may deserve it, but the reality is your cash flow isn't there to afford that. So your pay has to be in line with your total sales and what you're doing. So if your total business drops by 30%, and your salaries haven't dropped at all to your employees, they may work hard, they may have been with you forever, they may deserve it, but it's not sustainable for you. So you can't, you've got to adjust. You got to look for ways to adjust. You might have to let somebody go, figure it out, however you need to adjust, but you can't keep going at the rate you're going. Now, for the salesperson, if that's not at 10%, what's fair? So you got to ask yourself a few questions. First of all, can I get a better opportunity going to somebody else? Now, let's say your commission is 5% of sales, but you get a lot of leads and a lot of business. You may not have that opportunity to make as much money someplace else. You can get a higher percentage wage, but the reality is they're not doing as much marketing, or they haven't been in as business as long. They're not as attracting as many customers. So one company, you might have $1 million in sales, and you go to work for another company and you might only be able to get 600,000 or 700,000. And it's not your work ethic, and it's not about how good a salesperson you are. There's still lead generation involved. The lead generation is done by the employer. It's done by the company. So we all want that outside salesperson that gets their own leads. That's very difficult to do. I mean, it's great. You get a diamond in the rough that does that. Look, anybody that can generate their own leads can open their own store. They don't need you. If they have the ability to go out there and generate enough business for themselves, they might as well just open up their own store, and they probably will at some point. So that hot dog employee, that hot dog salesperson, you're probably going to lose them down the road here to opening up their own store. So you might want to keep them. This is another point too, that somebody talked about having to pay a higher wage to keep a good salesperson. And when we looked at the numbers, they didn't match up. So that salesperson wasn't worth the amount that he commanded. He might have been knowledgeable, he might have been pretty good, but where you guys were at business wise, it wasn't worth paying that guy more money. So you got to look at these numbers and make sure it's worth it. You also don't ever want to put yourself in a position where you're so depending so much on an employee that it hurts you when they leave. We don't want to rely on our employees that much to where they can hurt us. Now, we want to value our employees. We appreciate them. We value them greatly. We love, respect, and take care of our employees the best we can. But you want to rely on your processes, not your employees, because you don't want it to hurt you when they leave. And employees working for somebody, what's a loyalty? I never believed in loyalty. If you're working for me and you like it and you want to help us grow the business and do what we want to do, you're going to stay. Regardless of how much you're getting paid, if you don't like it and you don't like the way you're being treated, you're going to leave. And it's funny how many people will work for a company and be underpaid, but they like the boss, they like the owner, they like the company, they like being a part of it. So they don't leave. People don't leave for money, usually. Usually the reason they're leaving, there may be opportunity, but people don't leave a job that they love. Now, if you're not being paid enough, and one of the instances, I don't want to relive this whole conversation with this particular person, but their margins were lower than where they should be. So the fact that his wage wasn't equal to 10%, let's say you're doing a lot of commercial business, well, then your wage probably isn't going to be equal to 10% of your total sales because the margins aren't there to afford that. So your margins are down closer to 30%. You got to factor that in. If your margins are low, you can do $3 or $4 million a year. The company can't afford to pay you 10% because the margins aren't there. So what are some ways that you might be able to make more money? I don't believe in whining and bitching and complaining that I'm being underpaid and I think I deserve more money. If you want more money, go to your employer like a professional and request to get paid higher and give them the reasons why, or show them the benefits, or what are you going to do? Are you going to increase the closing rate? Are you going to increase the profit margins? What can you do to earn more money, not just be given it to you because of how long you've been there or because other people are getting paid more or all these things that are kind of whiny. I had a guy tell me, I learned this lesson when I was 16. Guy at Jack in the Box. I worked for Jack in the Box and I was working really hard and I was bitching and complaining. I'm working a lot harder than anybody else here and I deserve more money. And the manager came to me one day and said, Jerry, if you don't like it, then leave, but shut the fuck up. So I learned that at 16. A lot of people need to learn that at 30, 35, 40, 45. Nobody's got a chain to your ankle. Okay. You don't have to stay there. And bitching and griping and complaining is not going to get you a higher wage. This is where I get into arguments with installers all the time and people that think installers deserve more money. Well, okay, there's a way to go about that. But bitching, griping, and complaining and saying that you're underpaid and saying that the employer is greedy and taking advantage of you is not going to result in you getting higher pay. It's never worked. So it's up to you as the installer to be the professional and show the reasons why you deserve more money. And not only show them why you deserve more money, this is the hardest part. You need to convince that guy you need to charge more money. The reason that installers are being underpaid is not because the store owner is greedy. The main reason they're being underpaid is because the store is not charging enough to the customers because they're intimidated by the competition and they're trying to keep prices under there. So a lot of times they're being underpaid from a store that is hanging on by a thread. It may not be able to stay in business or they've always paid it that way. I mean, so there's a lot of reasons why, but installers have to take charge of their own future and their own business. Luckily, we have a lot of forums where you can learn a lot and understand how you can command higher pay. You can get your own business too, and you can open up a retail store. There's a lot of ways you can do. That's the beauty about our flooring industry. There's just so many opportunities for you out there. Um, So that's it about employee pay. We can broaden that discussion too. It's a very interesting discussion. So as salespeople, are you getting paid enough? What's fair? And one of the questions I got, what is an industry standard? And there ain't no industry standards. There are no industry standards for anything. I could show you a list of 40 different dealers who I've made up prices for carpet, for instance, and for labor on luxury vinyl or for showers, and all 40 are different. I mean, and the range is huge. So there's absolutely no industry standards. There's no industry standards for what we pay suppliers. There's no industry standards for what you pay as a commission to salespeople, what you're paying installers for the work they're doing. I mean, it is all over the board. There's absolutely no standards in our industry. So if you're looking at what you're getting paid and asking the question, is it fair? Is it fair based on what other people are getting paid? Everybody, you've all got the right to try and earn more money, to seek better opportunities. So it's your choice. Do you want to seek a better opportunity? But realize that the percentage of pay can go up, but the dollars of pay that you're receiving go down because that store might not be doing as much as another store. So understanding the numbers is really important. Okay. This is an interesting conversation to me, and I talk to a lot of my clients about this, about we want to charge a price for installation that includes baseboards, furniture move, and floor prep, and everything that goes into a hard surface job. So luxury vinyl and laminate primarily is what we're talking about. So if we can come up with one price, and it makes it easier for us to give a price. And a lot of people say, well, there's a lot of extra that we might have to charge afterwards because there's unforeseen work. And everybody makes a big deal about this unforeseen work that we may have to charge extra for, or that we may need an expert to evaluate every job to make sure that there isn't. And the vast majority of people have less than 5% of their jobs they are required to charge extra to cover unforeseen floor repair. And floor prep should be included in your price. So you should have a little bit of money, usually anywhere from 10 cents to 25 cents a foot will cover it. That'll cover the materials and labor in most cases. But most people, it's under 5%. If it's under 5%, it's not something I would be overly concerned about. I would focus more on selling and getting the job than I would making sure my prices and the floor is done right and everything else is done right. I would build up my sales system, which is what we do. We build up the process so the salespeople can be successful, you can get the job, and then we have checks and balances to make sure everything's done right. Still got to do the job right. And yes, you want to get paid the right amount, but I'd rather, sell 20 jobs and get burned on one job versus selling 5 jobs perfectly and nothing goes wrong. So don't be obsessed about the mistakes and the things that could happen, especially when it's under 5%. If your percentage is higher than 5%, then you need to have a different conversation with the customer when you're selling the job. There's ways to do it though. Let's go in, sell the job, sell the materials, sell the installation, sell the floor prep, and then have our expert come in to do an evaluation of the scope of work and make sure that we're getting everything we can. What's really fascinating is that even though the experts come in, it's just astonishing to me how many mistakes experts make. They still make mistakes. I mean, nobody's perfect. There's still unforeseen damage. That's the point of the word unforeseen floor repair. It's unforeseen. Okay. An expert that has been doing it their whole life still can't see underneath the carpet and padding. Maybe walking through, they know they're a little bit more knowledgeable about it. Okay. But you need to know how to have the conversation. And is it necessary? I can tell you in Arizona, there's not a whole lot of extra work that needs to be done. In most places, there's not. In Minnesota, I've talked to people that like 95% of the jobs need additional work that they have to charge for. And we got a big challenge, and then they're losing jobs to customers, to companies who aren't doing that. And this is another thing that we need to discuss, is those of you that are emailing quotes, especially those of you guys that are experts and you're really knowledgeable, you might be the smartest damn person, and they're going to go with somebody cheaper than you, because all I have to do is compare this email to that email. And you think, well, I told them this, I told them that. Do you remember everything people tell you? I sure the hell don't. If you told them, it's useless. I mean, you may have told them everything. You have to show them with the sales presentation. But you guys are bidding jobs, and maybe you're higher on a job that's $14,000, $18,000, $20,000, $30,000. Get in front of that customer again. Don't email a quote for $20,000. That deserves the respect of going there and sitting down with them and explaining and going over the quote and letting them understand what they're going to get. You know, you probably wouldn't go with somebody that was $5,000, $6,000 higher than another quote, say for a roofing job. You know, well, the quote's all laid out. Well, I got email quotes from 3 companies. All of them have a lifetime guarantee. All of them do this. All of them have been in business. All of them have good reviews, but the prices are wildly different. So why should I go with one company over the other? And unless you're standing there talking to them, you know, try to convince them to spend $5,000 more when it seems like they're getting the same results. You know, don't think that you're so worthy of their business that you shouldn't take the time to go back out there and quote that job, or not quote the job, but go back out there. So if you can't quote it in the home, and I haven't met anybody that couldn't, I've met people and I have clients that won't and just can't wrap their head around it. But if there's some reason you absolutely can't quote in the home, and it's a high estimate, you know, $2,000-$3,000 job, don't worry about it. You can email a quote, fine. But if that's over $10,000, I think that's worth you taking the time to go back out to that customer and try and close that job. And the other thing you got to measure is your closing rate under 40%. If your closing rate's under 40% or under 30%, man, something's got to change. You got to change the way you're selling, the way you're presenting to people. I had so many good conversations this week. I've got one client who is just dying, trying to get over $100,000 a month in sales. Been trying for 4 years. And he said, after working with me, he was able to do that in January. That was, we just started working together, but he was immediately able to, because he was able to sell in the home. You know, his skill level for the work he does doesn't improve. He was able to raise the price, even though the products didn't improve, the labor didn't improve. All that improved was his sales presentation. His sales presentation and the way he delivered the quote in the home in front of the customer improved so dramatically that he increased his closing rate. He's able to close in the home, and he's able to get a higher dollar amount. So it's not about how the work is done. It's about how what you do is sold. And I talked to another client, or not, you know, potential client, who also, they're thinking about hiring me. And the guy's been in business for years and years and years. Very, very knowledgeable person. And this is the way we do it. I love it when people argue with me. The reason they do it the way they do it is because that's the way they've always done it. Man, if you're sitting on a 30% closing rate and that's the way you've done it, it's time to learn something new. You know, don't be afraid of learning something new or trying something different. And for God's sakes, we're trying something easier. The systems and products I develop for people, though, the selling system is easier. It's more enjoyable. It's more fun. You focus on decorating and closing the sale for a higher dollar amount. You're not, it's not a complicated system. It makes life easier. But if you're stuck in your ways and you want some magic sales training program, good luck. It's not out there. You know, it's all encompassing. It has to do with how you deliver the price, closing in the home, and how you deliver the experience to the customer.
If you can't put your ego aside for 2 seconds, you're not going to improve. So those of you, the ones that have the toughest time are the people that have been doing it the longest. And they are the smartest. They're the most knowledgeable flooring people they are. They know everything there is to know about flooring, but they don't know about marketing and sales. So, and that brings me into the last topic I want to touch on, marketing. So there are three things that are really important to people. When you are marketing, if you can cover these three things, one is the product that they're looking for. So carpet, what's the selection, a little bit about the carpet, that's important. Luxury vinyl, laminate, hardwood, tile. If you got a good explanation about the product, you make it fun, you make it sexy. Don't get into the weeds and the details about the wear layer and shit that they don't care about. It's about how it looks and how it's going to hold up. And how it's going to hold up, you don't have to tell them why it's going to hold up. This holds up to dog scratches. It's very durable, it's water resistant or waterproof, however you want to say it, but this is gorgeous in the home. Like I would promote Redwood. It's like the best looking product that's a non real wood product. It looks most like real wood and it's extremely durable, but it's gorgeous. The selection is fantastic. That's how you sell the product. You sell the sex. You don't get into the wear layer, the reasons why, and how it's manufactured. Nobody really cares. But if you have a warranty is an indication of quality. So telling somebody that a product is lifetime guaranteed or has a 15-year warranty or 10-year warranty, 20-year warranty, that's an indication, a measurement of quality to people that they understand. So go ahead and give them the warranty on the product. So they care mostly, one, about the product. Two, they care about the price and why you guys are so afraid to tell people what the price is. And you don't have to be exact. You don't have to give them a breakdown. Just give them an idea of what they want to budget. It's just to make them comfortable enough to make the next step. Everybody wants to know what the price is. I love it when people say, well, my customers don't care about the price. Oh, bullshit. Everybody cares about the price. And not everybody cares about paying the cheapest price too. The price sometimes is an indication of quality. You want to make sure you're not buying cheap shit. So you might look at the price as, look, if I spend more money, I'm going to get a better quality, better looking product. So there's a lot of people that make decisions based on that. Now, I was a Hunter Douglas gallery dealer. The Hunter Douglas products were by far the most expensive products there were. And I was a lot more successful selling Hunter Douglas than I was selling any other window covering out there. Why was I more successful selling the most expensive product? And you look at companies like Gucci and Louis Vuitton, companies that have brand name recognition and they're more expensive. So why are these companies so successful in selling brands that are the most expensive versus somebody making a purse that is $100 or $200 versus a Louis Vuitton purse that does all the exact same things for $2,500? So why is Louis Vuitton so much more successful than a no-name brand purse? Okay, so there's value in high prices, and having a selection of high price items is important. But even people paying a high price kind of want an idea of what it's going to cost. Everybody wants an idea. It's just information. Don't be intimidated by it. All right. So number one, product. Number two, price. Number three, when can you get it done? I'm doing a lot of work in the home. I'd like to know when you can get it done. We all want to know when our stuff is going to be delivered. The quicker, the better. We're having a fantastic time selling showers. I'm creating shower presentations for my clients that give one price, $13,000. And here's all the stuff you can get, floor to ceiling shower. You get the plumbing, you get the doors, and we get it all installed in 2 weeks. So they got the product they're looking for, they got the price, and they got the delivery time. So they're calling on it. Nobody's calling for a quote. They're calling to get the shower done. So they're calling because they want you to come out and show them samples, or they want to come into your showroom and look at samples and see. I'm walking into your showroom, I already know what the price is. So you don't have to charge them extra for a niche, charge them extra for this kind of plumbing, charge them extra for this kind of door. You don't have to do that because it's already built into your price. So all they have to do is select what they want. When you give people the price up front, it makes it much easier for them to make a buying decision. And it's a great experience when they're coming in shopping for exactly what they saw online, rather than coming in to find out how much it's going to cost. So there's a lot of strategies we're going to implement around this that you can take advantage of. All right, so that's a wrap for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Ask questions below, or let's start some conversations. But just some really interesting stuff there. I thought that the conversation around the salesperson's pay, I thought was really fascinating, because from the salesperson and the employer's point of view, I think we all want to know what's fair, what's good, how can I get good people from the employer standpoint, from the salesperson, how much should I be getting paid? I mean, great stuff for us to talk about and just have an open, honest conversation about it. All right, guys, hope you have a fantastic month. Happy February, happy Valentine's Day, and that is a wrap.